My name is Chef Letty and today I will show you how to make a Dalandan-Tarragon tart. Dalandan-Tarragon tart, it's really a basic tart based on the same model than the lemon tart. So inside we're gonna have the crust first, and a tarragon ganache made with our raw chocolate, and a Dalandan cream, and on the top, of course, Italian meringue. So the first step of the recipe is to do the crust, to do the dough for the tart. So I will have 6 different kind of ingredients. The first one is the butter. I don't use salted butter, I use unsalted butter because I will add a little bit of salt inside this recipe. Why we add salt in the recipe? It's really to bring a little bit of color to my crust. After, I will add inside the icing sugar. If at home you don't have icing sugar, you just can use regular caster sugar. If you don't have a KitchenAid, you can just use your hands and a bowl. So this is the texture that I'm expecting. So you can see the butter is beginning to be a little bit more white, and the texture you just must to touch, okay, and you can see it's really, really soft. This is exactly the texture that I'm expecting when I'm talking about creamy texture. Right now, I will begin to add my eggs inside this creamy butter and icing sugar. So here is my fat part, here is my watery part. Even if I have egg yolks inside, it's still watery. Now that I have my first part of my eggs well incorporated inside my butter and sugar, I will add my second part of eggs. And I will continue to mix. You must too expect to have the same texture like a mayonnaise, the same texture, kind of the same color. Okay, so when I reach this point, I will add my salt inside because I told you I'm not using salted butter. I prefer to add by myself the salt inside the recipe because depends of the brand. Some brand they put 0.5% of salt inside, sometimes they put 3% of salt inside, so it's a big gap. So to be sure that my recipe will be always the same, I really prefer to put and add the salt by myself. And now I will put inside flour, okay? You can use for this recipe cake flour, all-purpose flour, or bread flour. There is really no difference. You put your flour in one time. You don't need to wait, you don't need to. The only thing is when you put back your mixer on, be careful that the speed is not too fast. If not, all the flour will go out of your KitchenAid, of course. The next step will be to roll the dough. Every time that I roll a dough, I prefer to roll it between 2 parchment, 2 wax paper. Okay? Like this, it's really easier for me to roll it and the dough is not sticky to the table. Because I don't know if this happened to you sometimes, but when you roll the dough cracks, the dough is not perfect. Because the dough is super fresh, I just made it right now. When I will roll it, it's gonna be super easy. I will use a really simple rolling pin, even not a professional one, really, really simple, just to show you that you can really roll with whatever you want. Even, you know, you can take a wine bottle if you don't have the rolling pin, you can do with this. So, about the thickness of the dough must be a little bit thin, okay, not too thick. Of course, more the dough is thin, more it's gonna be crunchy, more it's gonna be nice for you when you're gonna eat your tarts. So as you can see with the paper, it's really easy to roll. I don't need to put flour on my table, it's really clean. It's really, really easy. And you will see after, when I will put my dough inside my ring, it's gonna be really nice. Okay, now my dough is ready. What I will do is I will leave it inside the fridge or the freezer. It depends if you really want to eat your tart super, super fast or if you can wait. If you cannot wait, put it inside your freezer and leave it for 1 hour. If you can wait, it's better to leave it inside your fridge and to use it the day after. But it's really up to you. So to make this tart, I will use a perforated ring. Okay, it's really a professional one. I know it's difficult to find. Sometimes you can find in some really specialized store, but I know it's difficult. If you don't have it, no worries. You can always use your regular tart ring. Okay, so here's my dough. After I put it inside the fridge for a few hours. Okay, so it's super easy, as you can see, to remove the paper from the dough. So in fact, I remove the paper from the top and I will remove the paper from the bottom. And as you can see, if you rest your dough well, you can even take it. Okay, so now I will show you another method about how to make a tart shell. So the first step will be to cut a band of dough around 3 centimeters. So you have a band like this, and you put it slowly inside your tart ring. As you can see, I still miss, okay, because I make a small recipe of dough, but no worries, I just cut another band of dough. I cut a rectangle shape again, and I will add it inside. So when I have this, okay, I will just cut the extra part. So I really put my knife really flat and I just cut the extra like this, little by little, slowly. Now if you look like this, okay, I have no extra dough. Now we put it on this dough, and with 2 spatula or 2 knives, something flat, I'm just gonna press on the ring. 1, 2, and 3. To know if you make a good job or not, you must see the dough going a little bit up. If the dough is going a little bit up, that means you stick together the dough of the edges and the bottom dough together. So, and now again, I must cut the little extra dough that I can have. And here, you have already your tart shell. Okay, so the step that I will demo right now is the Dalandan lemon cream. So in fact, we really want to keep the texture of the lemon cream for the lemon tart that everybody knows. So I will show you how to make a lemon cream, but this time we remove a little bit of the lemon juice and we replace it by Dalandan juice. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put our Dalandan juice, our lemon juice. So better if your Dalandan juice and lemon juice are fresh, like the flavor will be way much different. And we're gonna put inside our Dalandan zest. The second thing that I really must do right away is to put my gelatin inside cold water. In my case, I'm using gelatin sheet. I will put a big bucket of water and ice, and inside I will put my sheets of gelatin. You always must to dip it during at least 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so here I have my lemon juice, Dalandan juice, Dalandan zest, and now I will add my tarragon inside. And I'm just gonna do a quick infusion, okay? So in fact, I'm just gonna make it boil together. And when it's boiling, I will remove it from the heat and I will leave it 10 minutes all together, just to be sure that the tarragon infuses well the Dalandan and lemon juice. So after removing the tarragon from the Dalandan juice and the lemon juice, you can smell it already. It smells well tarragon, okay? So now we'll boil it again. During this time, I will mix my eggs and sugar together. Every time that you put sugar and eggs together, or salt and eggs together, you always must to mix it right away. If not, there is a reaction, and this reaction make burn your eggs. And when it's boiling again, I will pour it on the top of the sugar and eggs, and everything will go back inside the saucepan. Okay, it's boiling again. I pour everything on top of my eggs plus sugar mixture. I mix everything together and I put everything back inside my saucepan. So now I will cook my cream until boiling. So I don't need to have like big bubbles, like a hard boiling. I really need to have a cream around 100 degrees, more or less. So when I will begin to see the bubbles, I will continue to cook it during 10 to 15 seconds and I will stop. Okay, you can see that your cream is kind of set, so it's good. You have exactly the texture that you want to have. At this point, I will take back my gelatin from my cold water, so you can see now the gelatin is soft and transparent, okay? And I will put it inside, okay? And I will mix again, and I want to be sure that all my gelatin is well melted inside my hot cream. When this is done, I will remove it and I will put it inside a bowl. And when my cream will be around 35 degrees, I will incorporate my butter inside. Okay, so now we demo you how to do the tarragon ganache montée. So what is a ganache montée? In fact, it's like a regular ganache, but we had at the end more cream, and with this extra cream, we can whip it like a chantilly, like a whipped cream. Okay, so this is the objective. So here I have my cream. Inside this infused cream, I will add my inverted sugar. So I'm sure everybody would ask, what is inverted sugar? So inverted sugar, it's a kind of sugar that we use a lot in pastry. Okay, if you don't have it at home, you can replace it by honey. Okay, honey is the natural inverted sugar. After inside, I will add glucose. So glucose, it's again a kind of sugar that we use a lot in pastry. If you don't have glucose, you can replace it by corn syrup. It's fine. Inverted sugar, about the sweetness, is way more sweet than regular caster sugar. So to balance this sweetness, I add a little bit of glucose or corn syrup, because glucose is less sweet than caster sugar. So in fact, I put the inverted sugar for the texture, but to balance the sweetness of the inverted sugar, I put the glucose. So I told you it's exactly like a ganache. So I put my chocolate inside my bowl, and I put my boiling cream, sugars on top of it. I really mix it. So for this recipe, I'm using the white chocolate from Oro. I'm adding a big quantity of cream. The cream that I'm using is already 35% cream, 35% fat cream, sorry, because you must to have enough fat molecule to be sure that you can whip the cream. Here I'm putting an alcohol that we call Ricard or pastis. It's a French alcohol. When you smell it, it smells star anise. So up, I put it inside. Of course, if you don't have it at home, or if you don't want to have this strong taste of tarragon, feel free to remove it. So this whipped ganache, I cannot whip it right away because my chocolate still melted, it didn't set. I destroy a little bit the composition of the cream by warm up it. So I must leave it at least 12 hours inside my fridge. Okay, so now we show you how we must put the different creams and the biscuit inside our tart shell. So first I cook my tart shell, okay? So I put it inside the oven at 175 during 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I put egg wash on top and I cook it more for 4 minutes more. Here I have a biscuit. You can take whatever kind of biscuit you want. For me, in my case, it's a vanilla biscuit, okay? It can be a génoise, it can be whatever biscuit you want, okay? I must check, and my biscuit must be a little bit smaller than my tart shell. So here is a biscuit, hop. So the rest you can eat it, of course. Here I have a Dalandan syrup. So to make a Dalandan syrup, I put 2 Dalandan juice. So I take the juice from 2 Dalandan. I mix it with 20 grams of sugar and I put the zest of 1 Dalandan. And I will imbibe it, but I will imbibe it a lot because something that I really don't like, it's when I eat a tart or when I eat a cake and the biscuit is really dry. So to be sure that I'm not gonna have this kind of problem, I'm really gonna imbibe it a lot. Now, I think you remember the lemon Dalandan cream. So inside I already put the butter at 35 degrees. I already explained you why it's super important. Okay, so this Dalandan cream, I will put a little bit inside my tart shell. I will spread it, so I'm using an offset spatula. So now that I have my Dalandan lemon tarragon cream inside, I will put my biscuit. So you can see my biscuit is really full of syrup. I put it inside and I'm pressing until the cream is exactly at the same height than the biscuit. Like this, I'm sure that I have no bubble of air between my tart shell and my biscuits. Now I will whip my ganache montée, my whipped ganache. You remember I showed you leave it for a few hours inside your fridge, or you can put it 1 hour inside your freezer and the rest in the fridge. Okay, so now I will show you. You put your whipped ganache inside a KitchenAid bowl and you're gonna use a whisk. And I will whip it. The objective is to have exactly the same texture than a chantilly. Okay, so now I have my whipped ganache and it's really whipped. So as you can see, the texture is really nice. And now slowly with my spatula again, I will spread it. Okay, and now my tart is clean, okay? And I will show you now how to make the Italian meringue to decorate it. So how we make an Italian meringue? First, inside the KitchenAid bowl, we're gonna put the egg whites. I will add a little bit of sugar in this egg white, up, and inside the saucepan, I will put the water first and the sugar. When this syrup will be at 110, I will begin to whip my egg white and my small part of sugar inside, okay? Some person, when they don't have thermometer, they use a bucket with cold water. They dip their finger inside the bucket of cold water, dip the finger inside the syrup, and dip again inside the cold water. I don't do that, I'm not that good. A little bit dangerous, don't do that too, huh? So right now I'm 110, so I begin to whip my egg white and sugar. Okay, now I'm 118. I stop my heat. I stop my egg white. And I will need the help of my assistants. I will need someone, slowly please, to put the sugar inside the bowl. So, we put it back, and now we're gonna make it turn during at least 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so now we show you the finishing part of the tart, okay? So my meringue is ready. So how can I know if the meringue is ready? I must check the peak. Me, I'm looking for medium to hard peak. So in fact, I take my bowl and I check the peak, okay? In fact, this is the peak of a meringue. So for sure it cannot go down again, okay? It must to set, and this is the real peak of the meringue. Here, first, I will take my tart. Your tart must be frozen. It's really important. If your tart is in the fridge, it's never gonna work, okay? So I take some meringue and I will spread some meringue on top of my tart. Okay, up, and I leave it on the side. During this time, I take the rest of my meringue. That means a lot. The next step will be, can you please come here? I will dip the top of my tart inside my meringue. So you need to have someone who holds the bowl. I dip like this. Hold it well, huh? And here's the design of my tarts, okay? So, in fact, because I told you the important is to keep the side really clean, I will again take my fingers and just clean the edges of my tarts. I'm a teacher, so I'm working with a lot of students, and I found out that piping the meringue is one of the more difficult things to do. So, Of course, at home, some of you are expert already, but some of you are really beginners. So I want you to do a design that you can be proud of without piping 10 hours to try to pipe something, and in fact at the end it's not exactly like you are expecting. So now, because me, I don't like it too much to eat the meringue like this, I will torch it. And I love to torch it because you see you have a lot of texture on top of my tart, and by torching it we're gonna see all the different kind of relief and everything. This is a more difficult. And after, little by little, okay. You know, even if you have a little burning line, there is no problem. You know, this kind of burnt caramelized texture of the meringue is really nice. Okay, and to finish it, because I want to finish it, but doing something super easy, I'm just gonna take some dalandan. You must wash it. It's an obligation because there is a lot of not super good things on top of it. And I will zest it. So I will take just a zester, and I'm just gonna put some zest just to bring a little bit of color, and like this you can recognize that this is a Dalandan tart and it's not a lemon tart. And that's it. This is my Dalandan-Tarragon tart with Oreo chocolate. So thank you for watching me, and I hope that you will try this recipe at home.